Hello everybody and welcome to the League of Europe. We are here today for Season 11, the pre-season test, Lobby 3, and I'm joined today in the comms box by Verstappen.
Yeah, hello everyone, and welcome here indeed to the League of Europe. You'll recognise me, QVR Verstappen, but alongside me, got a new commentator, so why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Jonathan. I've been commentating for about 3.5 years now, mostly CRL, but Farrell sent me a message a while back saying, hey, got a league that needs a commentator, and decided I'd hop in, give it a try. So you're stuck with me now for the season. I'll be doing Division 3, which most of the drivers you see today will be going into themselves, a serial killer being the first man out on track here at China. Yeah, it should be a good one. Looking forward to it, seeing what the drivers are like, seeing where all the paces are, learning who's to watch out for come the main season. Of course, no points, so less pressure here today, but drivers still wanted to make an impression. If you want to try and move up into that second division, then you're going to push more today. If you'd rather have the slightly more chill experience of Division 3, then of course drivers able to gun for that as well. But it should be a good race.
Yeah, hopefully. Looking here at Serial Killer, he's a Division 4 driver from last season. Obviously, I'm very familiar with many of these drivers, so there'll be a bit of an contrast here between myself and Jonathan. And I'll be doing some explaining here and there, and giving them a little bit of an intro. And for obviously the drivers that are new, it's going to be interesting for me as well. So Serial Killer, yeah, always a bit of a reserve. He will be a reserve for this season as well, if he signed up for that. He's from India. I think he lives in Canada.
All right.
So you might see the occasional lag spike for him. But overall, he's been here for quite a while, so we'll see. I don't expect him to be towards the front of the grid, but let's see if he can surprise us maybe here today.
Yeah, and as you mentioned earlier, I won't recognise many of the drivers. Two drivers I do recognise. You've got IRT Crack in the Mercedes, P8, and the other one is Stephen in the Ferrari, who actually, his fellow IRT member has said Stephen for the W. So let's see if that is the case, but one of the two drivers I recognise being one of the drivers talked up a serial killer coming around the final corner, struggling to use the whole width of the track there, but here we go, now heading down towards this first long right-hander. Plenty of action here, always into turn 1, especially on that first lap. Admittedly, I don't know the line myself particularly well. That is the wrong downside to my comms, is I don't race F1, I just speak funny words in the commentary box. But here we go, that McLaren we've recently seen the 2024 livery to be without that blue. Serial Killer putting a lap on show. Of course, purple sector's the first man out on track here, and laying down the benchmark, showing how it's done in this short quali session.
Yeah, he's looking pretty clean so far. Contrary to what you've been doing, I've not to brag, but just won the Lobby 1 pre-season race here, as Serial Killer just hopped over the curb at turn 10 there. So again, another contrast between us, and to see it from a driver's perspective, he's attacking the curbs quite a lot, but I don't think he's carrying enough speed through the corners. I think is where he can improve, as he heads onto the long back straight when the Aston Martin is just staying along the right hand side of the track. The DRS is open. 1 or 2 DRS stands here on the track, and then difficult brakes and down into turn 14. Looking to use ABS, hops over the curb a little bit, then again attacking that curb, but not quite maximizing the speed of it. And now down into the last corner, very difficult, just going wide, getting stuck on the curb. But across the line, 33.8 is been set, and that's been immediately improved by Ryan B, just in behind at 132.2, one of last season's Division 3 drivers here.
Yeah, there's already 3 drivers set in at a time. We had an invalidation here from the AlphaTauri Ghost Recon though. James Head, another commentator, now racing, going straight through to the front as Ibo comes across the line at 34.1. The McLaren's currently the 2 slowest times for the moment, but still plenty more of the session left to go. 6 times on the board. The 2 Alfa Romeos, are they on laps? No, they're both on out laps. So the next man to the line will be Axel here, the Williams that we're on board with. Now, interesting choice. Is it, how do I say that driver in P3? Is that Harin?
Harry Neoark, Harry would probably be fine enough.
Harry, okay.
But
By the way,
yeah,
interesting choice by him to go onto the medium tyres. Now, of course...
Yeah, I've seen this often enough from him. He does a one run on the mediums to get a lap in often enough, and then goes on to soft later in the session. At least in Division 4 he was doing this quite often last season. So, yeah, I think that's a strategy certain drivers prefer. I'm even seeing Hart for GRL anyway, one of the Alfa Romeos. He's a new driver to the league, so it's interesting to see if he's going to do anything. It's, last season's Division 4 champion, Major Falcon, has just made his way into P3, and that's still behind the time of James Ed, who was the runner-up in that season. So, yeah, a bit of a pace difference there. That's to what I'm used to.
As Mr. Wouter there, we're still going very, very wide through that last left-hander. Somehow didn't invalidate. I don't know what the league rules are on getting caught abusing track limits and getting away with it. But he's been caught if it's not allowed. We'll still have to get used to how LOE functions. I guess you can educate me on that. As IRT cracks straight to the front for the Mercedes driver. 31.9 on no, a flip. Getting the 31.6, 3/10 up again.
Brilliant time there from Fletch-Nanton. Again, a Division 4 driver. He had a good run here last season before, I don't think he liked me saying this, but he crashed out in the last lap while leading. But yeah, that's a bit of a surprise for me. As for track limits, for pre-season it's not encouraged to do it, but all around we're not gonna, punish drivers for doing it, we'll take note of it. But as for the actual season, there'll be Stuart's updates posted in the Discord, and for certain corners where you cannot do certain things, and that's how we'll modulate it.
Yep.
Yeah, great time for Nanton. I want to take note of Well Anyway as well. 32.7 on the heart.
Yeah. That's something to keep an eye on. What time can Well Anyway set? So we go. Slayer set in a 32.8. But if he set that time on the hards, then, well, you know the game better than me. What kind of time do you reckon we're going to see from him once he moves on to the soft tyre?
I think we could expect him at least around Flitch time, if not quicker. So we'll have to see. The general place of the heart in the main, that's the MCR.
There we go.
Has just put in 31.6, just about quicker than Fletch-Nanton there. Yeah, I think Well Anyway, if he gets a clean lap on the soft, then that should probably get him towards this front end as well.
Yeah, at the moment the top two separated by, what's that, just 19 thousandths of a second. We're on board with MCR as he crossed the line there. But so far a purple first sector from Steben, and a driver I know has had some pace in the past, perhaps lost a little bit of pace come F1 23 compared to some of his previous form. I don't know if that was a change from pad onto wheel or some other thing, or if it is just less time to practice, less time to learn the new game. But either way, interested to see what he can do. Another purple sector from the Ferrari driver here. Now the cars the drivers are in for the pre-season is not the cars they will be in come the actual division. In fact, this isn't even the confirmed grid just yet. So don't keep in mind that it'll stick in Ferrari, because it's highly unlikely for him to do so. In fact, I'd probably expect him and Crack to try and become teammates come the full season if they both end up sticking it in Division 3.
Yeah, we'll have to see. As it goes a bit deep there into turn 14, I think it's going to cost him a lot of time. He was on a good lap indeed. Let's see, he's still going to finish it, get a time on the board. Yeah, Steben is a driver as he puts in a 32.1, just behind his, Ferrari teammate for now, I guess. Steben is a driver that's very quick at certain points, and but doesn't quite have the consistency to carry it over for every track and every, section of the race at times as well. Just a good quality pace, and at times not as quick in the race, but he improved that. He could easily be a front runner in Division 3, so we'll have to see if he's made some steps in that. They're currently P5 with that mistake still in mind. Not a bad time whatsoever.
Yeah. Of course, still plenty of the session left to try and improve, given there was such an obvious mistake, the two purple sectors. Although I've learned not to trust Codemasters, and purple sectors as ultimate muster sets a 33.1 into P12 there. I've learned not to trust the purple sectors from this game, but it certainly did seem to be pretty good driving through the first couple of sectors. It was just that mistake. If you can hammer out that last mistake, work with the evolving track, then it could very well be looking to start towards the front of the order.
Yeah. Currently 18 drivers have set a time. The 2 that have not set a time are the Americans on this grid, Ghost Recon and KMK. So let's see if they're gonna be able to improve and get themselves at least a time on the board. This Ghost Recon is one of the drivers just starting a lap. I don't think he's the furthest along though. As I'm looking towards James, at Ryan B is toward the end of the lap. So he's just coming from the final corner, but hops over the curb. Big slide on the exit. Is that going to cost him a lot of time? Yes, it is, because he doesn't manage to improve because of that mistake, most likely.
Yeah, not what he was looking for there. Okay, then who shall be the next man to the line? One of the many blue cars. I can't tell which blue car, because they all look very similar. There's an Alpine there, but I think both of them are one on an out lap, one on an in lap. So neither of them to be setting laps this time around. Thinking actually the 2 McLarens, currently the 2 slowest times. No, both of them have aborted their lap. Okay, neither of the McLarens then to be setting time here just yet. Ultimate Muster, he's had to do a slow one, pulling into the pit lane then. Got a Ferrari, is it James Head? Oh, no, he's on an in lap.
Yeah, I think he wasn't a lap, but he boarded it. Must have been a mistake or something.
Right.
So around 6 tenths down in his sector 2 split. So I think that's where he might have lost a bit of time, made a mistake. Happens to anyone. That's just Crash starting a lap. Goes Recon, I think, is just towards the end of the lap now. So he comes for the final corner, flies it in quite well. He did a good run at the end of last season, and he seems to continue that into P8. Solid time there for the American. And now just the other American, who I think is the next one.
That has invalidated.
He is indeed invalidated, so he's gonna have to try again right at the end of the session. And we'll see if he can at least get a bit of a decent time in. Mr. Wouter, let's see, he's gonna come across the line. 31.5, puts it onto provisional pole position.
How about
Good
that?
time.
Although, well anyway, stealing it off him with 30.9. Wow, that's the man we saw on hard tyres. You said it'd be up there, and it certainly is. I think, what was it, 32.7 he had on the hards?
Yeah,
improving
so,
by 1.8.
That's an excellent time for the Polish driver, if I'm not mistaken, if I've seen this sign-up form correctly. Yeah, good time there for the Alfa Romeo, and I think he'll be looking like he might need to go up a division. We'll have to see about that one. It's a bit early to say, obviously, but you know, we'll have to see. Tim McLaren is now actually coming across the line. Ciro just improved to 17th. I think Ibo is starting another lap, but he's fully out of ERS.
He just finished the lap. Ibo not quite improving. Cyril though did get, I think it was just shy of 2/10 improvement from P18 to P17. The 2 McLarens seem to be stuck like glue to each other on track at the moment. So, well, if it works in the race, then get it to work perhaps in quali. The long straight, I don't know how useful slipstream is on this track.
It can be quite good. So, especially around that long straight, if you time it well, can gain you quite a few tenths, I think. Looking at the Red Bull of Go 72 UK, because he's about a second up on his time, with still the final sector to go. He breaks down into turn 14, all the way down to first gear. Second gear on the exit there, Ghost Recon has retired in the pits. Thought that's enough, fair enough, I guess. The British driver, Go 72 UK, it's going to get confusing, 2 ghosts in here. But he gets himself into P8, 32.1. A lot of drivers around that region right now.
Yeah, let's see. Anyone currently on a lap? I think we've got a lot of in-laps at the moment. Drivers waiting to go out on their last dash. Major Falcon looking to be on an in-lap. We know both McLarens crossed the line out of ERS, so neither of them are going to be setting a lap. We're still yet to see a time from K-Cam as well. Oh, sorry, Cam-K. Had that one lap that got invalidated. As Ibo is going around again, and interestingly, a lap without any ERS. Do we see any improvement? No, we do not. I guess going around for a lap this time around. But the tyre's so old at this point. Set the fastest time on 4 lap old softs. No one in the top 10 has set a lap or their fastest lap, on tyres that are more than 1 lap old. I guess the drivers, if you know your consistency is not there, then you just keep on banging out laps, and eventually one of them is going to be better, regardless of how good the tyres are.
Yeah, exactly. Just like a Slayer, he's improved by a good 3.5 tenths, and it's only going to gain in 1 position so far, but I think actually that will be the qualifying over unless he has enough fuel to do a cooldown lap and go again. So, yeah, Slayer on a 32.4. Might not be exactly what he's looking for, but not a bad time, I'd say. Everyone, we'll just be preparing for the last run, I think, now.
Yeah, a few of them are starting to leave the pit lane now, I think. In fact, there's a whole host of them, an Alpine, a Williams, a Mercedes, and Aston Martin. All sorts of drivers, both Ferraris also on an outlap. James Head actually will be one of the first to start his last lap. So we will hop on board with him, watch him take us around again, currently sitting P6, although that is 1.1 seconds behind that fastest time from Well Anyway. A man who certainly looks like he wants to have a little crack at Division 2 come the full season. With pace like that, new to the leagues, of course, always hard to place a driver, and quali pace doesn't necessarily mean race pace, doesn't mean the strategy. Here we go, first set to complete. That long right hander, that short left, you've got to be careful not to drop it. Slight improvement, a couple hundredths, so needs to find more than that to gain even 1 place though. Is it 13 hundredths needed to move up 1 position? Ideally, if he can get below that 31.5, he can move himself provisionally up into P2. Mr. Walter and Well Anyway, neither of them leaving the pits, neither of them have time to improve, so those top 2 are locked in. They shall not be changing their time. That is what they're currently stuck with. Now nearly half a second green for James Head. This is good. A little bit of traffic stayed fairly out the way, slight bit of distraction there as he comes round onto this final straight. That half a second is going to be putting him into P2 if he can hold on to it. See how he manages the rest of the lap. Can he get a strong last sector? Can he make sure that traffic did not affect him too badly? No slipstream, but at the same time not too many cars to worry about. There is that Aston Martin up ahead, hopefully stays far enough ahead to not cause any issues. Coming towards this last left-hander, want to use the full extent of the trap, get on the curb, not let it unsettle the car. Nicely done, and here we go towards the line. It is P2, it's a 31.1, and that is a time I think he'll be pretty chuffed with.
Yeah, very good time there from James Head, and himself just 2 tenths off Well Anyway. Looks like the Polish driver not going to improve, as the lap will be out soon. I have about 16 seconds left in the session. Just looking around, I think Harry Noir might have just started a lap actually.
Well, Stevenson validated his last one. I didn't actually check his ERS, so we might not be going round again. MCR soon to the line though.
Yeah, Steven did a 31.5, it would have put him into P4. It's a pretty solid time, but unfortunately not quite able to make it work without validation.
There we go.
MCR with a good improvement, 31.2 there.
And Flip as well, improving, but not enough to gain any positions, 9 thousandths off the car ahead. Right, ultimate muster. He's got half a second in him, possibly more for the last sector. Here we go, P15 for him. He does certainly improve there. Not cracking too high up the order, but improvement is always good to see. Ryan B, there we go, P11 up to P4 there with a 31.3. In amongst those top boys. Right, Camke, the man yet to set a lap. What can he do?
See, he gets a bit unsettled on the exit curve there, but across the line into P5. You know, for a lap that's right at the death of the quali session, that's quite impressive. Swift gets himself into P17, 32.8. As Maker Falcon into P8 with a 31.9. Crack just misses out by 1,000 there.
Well, and an invalidation from Crack as well, so remaining in P19th. This Axel does improve by nearly 6 tenths up into P14. We've got a Mercedes soon to the line. It's Harin. Harin joining his teammate on that 5th row with a 31.9. And then who have we got? Serial Killer. He's got some good time to improve there. There we go, P17 for that driver. Does that conclude? No. Oh, Stephen, is he on a timed lap? No, he's not. So that does conclude the order. And look how close some of these time gaps are. P8 to P9, 1,000th between the two of them.
Yeah, it's definitely some close times as well. 17th and 18th, 13th and 14th, 5,000s there. 9,000 between P6 and 7. You know, there's quite a lot of close gaps there. At the front though, seen GRL well anyway, with the only driver to get into the 130s, and quite early on in the session as well, after doing a run in the heart. And he just got a quit, so he'll probably have strategical advantage as well going into the race.
Yeah, as James had commented on the stream there, considering I lost all my setups and my game reset all of my assists, I'd consider that a good lap. But,
well,
certainly not an ideal way to start a race. Yeah.
We'll have to see if he can maybe carry even more pace on into the race. Yeah, just gonna run for the grid then. Well, anyway, on pole position, right ahead of James Head on the front row. MCR and Ryan B on the second row, both Division 3 drivers from last season, as well as Cam K and Mr. Wouter in the third row. And Flip in P7 with Major Falcon in P8. Watch out for him in the race. His race pace can be absolutely electrical at times. And the two Mercedes in P9 and P10 with Steban and Go 72 UK on 11 of the 12. Goes Recon and Axel, then Slayer and Quervauer. Serial, Ultimate, Swip and Ibo running up the grids here at the Shanghai International Circuit.
And interestingly, the two ghosts have decided to help us out and stick themselves right next to each other, P12 and 13, to start the race.
It's going to be an amazing start.
By the way, is there a formation lap?
There should be.
There should be, okay. We'll find out.
I think there will be. Just for the people that aren't quite aware, there is a mandatory 2-stop as well as in this pre-season race in China. So drivers have to get into the pits twice, no matter what. And obviously the game's rules is that you have to use 2 different compounds, so that all adds up to each other. In terms of strategy-wise, it kind of depends on what tire allocation you pick here. I think a combination of a soft, a medium, and then another tire is the most likely we will see. And that can be a soft or a medium for the last stint, and it can be in any order as well. So it'll be quite interesting to see what drivers pick, especially for some of those who aren't quite as aware of the strategy maybe in this lobby.
Yeah, though a little bit of advice from Tarek in the chat saying, good luck lobby 3, don't forget to add extra fuel. Well,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, and the safety cars might come in and help with that problem, but yeah, don't run out of fuel.
In the pre-season we don't have a safety car, so
okay.
That's not going to be an issue.
Right, they definitely do add extra fuel.
Helpful.
Yeah,
they should have extra fuel. So let's have a look at the tire selection then. Seeing a vast majority of the grid on mediums, with a few outliers here and there.
Yeah, and Harrying on hards. Actually, as a serial killer. A couple of hards, 4 on the soft, but the top 3 rows all opt in to start on the medium compound.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised by the choice for hards. It's a track where the tires do wear quite a bit. The hards on most tracks don't really have much of a drop-off. They're a very consistent tire. So I'm not surprised that someone went for it. I think in Lobby 1, I don't know about Lobby 2, I haven't watched that, or been able to watch that, but Lobby 1 I know at least a few drivers did opt for the hards at some point in the race, so it can work out, and they're just going to be able to push a little bit more apart from, just maybe not being as quick at the, right at the start, but in the long run it might help them.
Yeah, though of course, being a mandatory 2-stop, the long run, perhaps less needed. Given you only need to do, I think you can do a 10-lap stint, 9-lap stint, 9-lap stint. I imagine you start the shorter stints where your car's that little bit heavier. But of course, track position to consider as well. But China, I mean, with that back straight, not too difficult to go for an overtake, depending on your setup, of course. If you want a bit of extra downforce, you are putting yourself open to be overtaken down that back straight. But at the same time, if you want to be the slowest man through the corners, you can absolutely send it, become a rocket ship down that back straight. That is up to the drivers. That setup difference will come into play in terms of the strategy. But I think I saw one of the Division 1 drivers in Lobby 1 saying they reckon that medium soft was the way to go, and anything else you're going to really struggle. So we'll see how many
I
of
think
them
it'll be
stick to that.
either medium soft or a medium soft. I think those are the two options. I myself did double medium and then a soft stint at the end. So
Alright, okay.
let's see how that's gonna turn out for these drivers.
It's pulling onto the grid now, getting ready to start off, and someone, Mr. Walter, has missed his grid box. Mr. Walter, not to be confused with Sweet Crown, otherwise known as Walter, in Division 1. That is a sideways Red Bull. That is... I think that's Curvature F1, I think, there.
Yeah, I think so.
Somehow avoided invalidation thus far.
Yeah, I
Colour
don't
me
think it was
impressed.
fastest spot yet.
Here we go, the driver's getting ready, the lights about to start going up. There we go, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights are up, and away we go. Ferrari in the inside with a very, very good launch. James Head immediately trying to get up the inside of, well, anyway, not happening just yet. Here we go, the camera angle not showing too much, but the car's flying through. Ferrari on the inside, but that's going to become the outside come this next right-hander. Can he complete the move in time? No, he cannot. Well, anyway, defending from this Ferrari, the Williams of MCR slotting in behind. He's settled down a little bit. It's further down, plenty of action going on, and now actually the Williams wanting to join in on the fun. This sharp left-hander sending it up the inside. A little bit of contact there. Luckily no damage to either car, no spins for either car, but a lock-up on that Ferrari not going to help the tyre life. The top 6 remaining in the positions that they started. No changes there. Crack making a little bit of moves further down the order, as that is a spinner. I think Flip has done a flip.
Yep.
And let's see, yeah, he is off. He's doing many donuts. He's taking out a DHL sign. The sponsors are not happy. But,
yeah, I think it's just he might have touched a curb there, maybe made some contact. Fortunately, there is no damage involved in this racing race either. It's just make sure people can finish and not get unfairly, treated with that.
That's
he missed the
wide
Walter on the
Red Bull.
inside, next to Cam K. And he's quite easily passed the American as the American centre back on the inside.
And he's
they all get
contact
free wide with Ryan B as well. MCR got turned around as well because he's slowed down quite a bit, and the top 2 are away. Yellow flags in the background. Slayer, I think, gone round. So quite a bit of action here at the front. Anyway, is very happy at the front here.
MCR doing very, very well to hold this car. Someone decided to give him a little tap, and you know what? He went sideways, caught it, and kept his car going forward as hello. Cam K having a little looky up the side of that AlphaTauri and getting the move to stick. A very, very nicely done move, especially given both on the medium tyres. Some drivers struggling to make up positions. Let's have a quick look at the ups and downs. IRT Crack up 3 positions here. There's a move going on behind here, actually. Crack going for a send on Ryan B. Seems so confident in his car coming the race now. He's qualifying and not his thing, but now the race is here. Can bring up the aggression a little bit and make that work for him. Although let's not forget that gap between second and third.
Yeah, the gap. Axel was on the back of Major Falcon, but he's just been a bit deep into turn 9, and Steven's actually taken advantage of it and opened up that gap beautifully. He's now taking that position back. I was going to say, he's on the softs, so currently he's going to want to make the most of those and try and get past.
Yes.
But not quite working out for him that well. I think he has gained some position from the start, but now he's going to get a little bit stuck in.
Yeah, did seem to be struggling a little bit, but here we go. Crack and Cam K going side by side towards this hairpin, and Crack just seems so confident so far this race. He's been absolutely blitzed in the field, just gradually moving his way up the order, picking them off one by one. Sure, the front 2 have ran away, but he has kept right on the back of this train and been gradually working his way up through the order, with DRS now being enabled from this lap. Perhaps even more moves coming from that driver. A very good start to this pre-season race. There's nearly contact here from the Haas into the back of that car, actually compromising his own line a little bit because of it.
I would like to say he might have gained some positions and he's done well with that, but he has drained quite a bit of his battery to do so, as he's down to 25%. And that might affect him in trying to be able to catch maybe the top 2 here. MCR now kind of keeping his gap to James at least stable, who is on this turn kind of losing touch with Will anyway, who's trying to get him out of his DRS there. We'll see if he's going to be capable of doing that.
Yeah, well, of course we know. Who was it, the two drivers who didn't go for final run? Well, anyway, was one of them. I can't remember who the other one was, but those two drivers, they had more pace to give in qualifying, so we'd expect to see that race come out, show during the race, and that does seem to be the case so far. There's a few drivers chopping and changing. Who was it? Steben and Axel still fighting away. Of course, the soft tyres wanting to make moves, not able to do so just yet. There'll be the DRS, but it's not going to be only in the benefit, also in the benefit of Steben, not just for Axel. So here we go, that gap is closing though. ERS not being burnt. Is he going to go for a send up the inside? It seems quite late, but the Williams has gone for it, and all contact with the Aston Martin. Yeah, that not a particularly good move here. The Aston Martin falling back. Actually, Steben saying, if you'll move him out of the way, I'll take the position back. Axel does stay ahead of Major Falcon. So Major Falcon perhaps going to be quite hot-headed. As here we go, another driver actually. Ghost Recon coming out, having a little look up the inside. Contact between the three of them. The Aston Martin knocked wide. Ghost Recon spinning off on the inside of the corner. Harron's gone for a little spin. Everyone's spinning off everywhere. So Ghost Recon and Harron both.
They were three wide up ahead. Ghost Recon, Axel, Major Falcon, and the former two collided, spun round, and I think Harron might have just been trying to avoid people and just gone on a spin himself. I think that's the only plausible explanation there. It's Ultimate and Swip are fighting in turn 6. Swip getting the better of the spin in the Alfa Romeo. Big slide there for him.
That was close.
Like Kimi Räikkönen right there.
He's in the right car to do it. Was that a Ferrari move or an Alfa Romeo move? Actually, I can't remember. Either way, Räikkönen inspired save.
Again towards the front, this train is pretty intact itself. The drivers seem pretty well matched here, from P3 down to P7, I'd say. So a bit of fighting in behind is going to help their cause as well.
Yeah, I think
the crack is getting closer to MCR now.
Feels like the top 7 kind of having, it was a slight mistake by Crack there. The top 7 have quite a relaxed race. They've settled in, they've found their rhythm, they're setting laps. Meanwhile, anyone outside the top 7 is just going absolutely crazy. Steben is now actually in a fair bit of clean areas. Camkate looking for a move on Crack. I think this is going to happen. Can Crack? He's trying to hold it around the outside, but a slight nudge. And, ooh, hello, rear tyre alongside. I'm not sure that's going to work. It's going to be parked on the apex. Having said that, using the oversteer.
Yeah, he's trying to get alongside, maybe down towards turn 6, but he thinks better of it in the backside of that one. So, in the end, a good move from Camke, who's maybe looked after his tyres a little bit better. Looks like it. But obviously still early on, so plenty of time to gain that back as well.
Oh, and of course the ERS advantage.
That is going to help as well, definitely. Not really any set of differences whatsoever. Can also play in a part of that. MCR still trying to reel back James into this train. Both still fairly comfortable in ERS, around the 60 to 50 mark. But 1.2 seconds is that gap. Now 1.8 from well anyway to James, so I think James is going to get reeled in the next few laps, but he does have a little bit of an ERS advantage which could help him out.
Oh, hello. Flip going very, very wide there. Just caught in the background of this battle between Harring and Ibo. Ibo on the softs versus Harring on the hards. Flip's race going from bad to worse as well anyway, picking up a 3 second. That last left-hander, you go wide, you get warnings. It was, oh my goodness, what has happened here? Harring dropping back 2 positions as Q just sending it beautifully there. Ibo also getting the slow exit there, so Harring back up into P18. This group quite close together. A mistake on the exit, and that allows Slayer to get involved, to pull alongside that McLaren. Slayer the outside line on Ibo, but I suspect will pull ahead by the time they get to turn 1. Does indeed do so, and that's Slayer up into P18. The rest of them, as we've had a pit stop from Flip. I wonder if that'll be for a set of mediums, as Ultimate going for an absolute send and a half, going way too deep there. Briefly overtaking and then dropping back, and now actually under threat behind from Ghost UK.
Can hold him off just about there. Flip has them onto a set of mediums that I think guessing about how far back it was, it's not a bad decision. The soft tyres after a spin won't be very nice to drive on, so I can see why he fitted this early. Might have to compromise himself a little bit for the second half of the race, but if he can carry over the pace he had in qualifying, he could find himself back into the fight for maybe the top 10. We'll have to see. Looking towards the front train again. Seeing Ryan B and Mr. Wout are fairly close to each other as well as Crack. They're all bunching up quite a bit here. And I think MC are so close to getting that gap to James yet, but James is just about holding on to stick out there, although getting on that curve is not an ideal scenario there. I like these drivers a little bit.
Yeah, what was it? 1.0 now, just needs a tenth more, perhaps burning ERS there, realising it needs to happen sooner rather than later. And of course, I don't know if Cam K deliberately not fighting MCR or just kind of not able to get near enough, but it is beneficial to all these people in this third place train to allow the DRS to catch up, to get James Head within their range, to get second place reeled back in. Well, anyway, really starting to pull away here, but of course has that 3-second penalty to deal with. Getting that so early on does not exactly inspire confidence in your own driving, so there's the risk there's going to be more penalties, or he's going to start backing off the pace just a little bit to try and avoid that doing so. But here's what we're watching, that gap, 9.5 tenths here, burning the RS. You can see he knows what it means to be within that gap. He's probably going to run slightly deep into this next right-hander if he's playing it smart. I don't think he was within that 1 second gap. I think he was slightly too far back.
Yeah, I think James is seeing the same thing, and he's trying to do the exact same thing, trying to hold on just about. He is within 9 tenths though. The next detection zone split point is right before the enters the final corner. So this corner has to be good. And Cam K waiting off. I'm surprised he is waiting this long, because I reckon with a bit of ERS usage and a good overtake, he could have got himself in the DRS of James there, and then have the track position as well. So Go 72k has overtaken ultimates just about there for P11, and the stuff's dying off a little bit, and it's quite noticeable there. It's Crack and Cam K very close together here, coming through turn 2 there, but Cam K again a little bit of a touch from the Mercedes in behind, and the Mercedes is trying to open up that gap on the inside of the left-hander there. The one towards turn 6, you might think he have another shot, but I think Cam K's straight line speed out of that corner was a little bit too much for him, and Crack has to hold off for just one more moment.
Yeah, a big lock-up, but not enough to make the difference. There's a battle going on further down. The order is ultimate again. He keeps going deep into this corner. I don't know which corner number it is. Sorry, excuse me, but that is not the first time I've seen the Alfa Romeo driver going deep. His fastest lap from Flip, not a surprise there.
Yeah, being on the freshest tyres is going to help that.
Oh, and that is a spin. Is that Mr. Wouter?
Yep. He's going around turn 10. Yeah, to the left hand side. I think James is going around himself, coming through turn 12.
Yeah, wow, okay, that really shakes things up a bit. The two Ferraris swapping positions. I think James is going to settle in just behind, penalties for hammering further down, and all of a sudden, Wout has fallen down, James has fallen down, there's penalties elsewhere in the field. And well, anyway, he's got 4.5 second lead with only 3 seconds of time penalties. Yeah, look at the tyre struggle there on Cam K's car. I think not many more laps here on these.
That's an early pit stop there for the Mercedes. Lap 8, it's doable, but I'm curious what tyres he's going to go on to. More people in the pits as well at the same time.
Yeah, a few of...
and Ultimate. Another set of mediums for Crack.
Yeah, a few of the soft runners coming in. Interesting that Crack, as you mentioned, coming in so early, because of course he does still need to use something other than the medium tyres at some point. So is he going to end with the soft, or is he going to end with the hard? Medium hard seems overkill in terms of tyre life.
But then again, it is a tyre that the hard, I said it earlier, it's a tyre you can't push on. And if that's more valuable than, you know, trying to get the best tyre possible, as Crack is getting alongside Harner Work pretty easily there, around turn 6, and doesn't run the outside. I could see, given the lap that he fitted on, that he could go to the hards around lap 16 or 17 and just push towards the end. Not have to worry about tyre life.
It's all crack into the back. Yeah. Struggling with the lack of pace. The Haas driver has, look again, just been held up by this traffic. Stuck in behind. I mean, he's working his way through them. Of course, he's faster. He was faster in qualifying. He was faster in race pace. And now he's on faster tyres to add to that. But getting stuck in places he really doesn't want to get stuck. Those first couple sectors, so tricky to overtake at certain points. As our leader pulls into the pit lane, as does a lot of our front runners. Ryan B not choosing to do so. Let's see if the Ferrari boys do. They might want to avoid a double stack. They have avoided a double stack. So have the Aston Martins. Both of them were stuck with their teammates, so only one of them pitting Stephen and Wouter staying out on track there. But a large majority of our medium runners have come into the pits.
I've seen mediums for Will anyway, mediums for MCR, soft for Camke, and hard for Major Falcon. And mediums for James as well, so quite a bit of variety there. And you can see what the undercut does here.
Yeah.
The fresh tires are so good that Crack has not only managed to overtake MCR and Camke, but he's 2 seconds ahead of him. So obviously now there'll be a bunch of laps where MCR and Camke will have the better tires compared to Crack. And they can try and gain that back, which is definitely possible. But it definitely shows that the fresh tires are so good here.
As this battle here going on for P15, Ghost getting past Major Falcon, and while the mediums are still nice and fresh, they're going to absolutely outdo the hard tyres. Ultimate, you might see the same thing from him being on the mediums as well, looking to get past, but not really the best line through there, getting on the curb too much, slowing his car down more than it needed to do. I am interested to see how Camke does on these fresh soft tyres. And actually, yeah, as I say that, about to get a move on MCR here up into P10. And a few of these drivers yet to pit, going to give him DRS on the next part of the track.
Yeah, I think that's going to help him here, as Clarifier is still in front of him. Not pitting just yet. And getting on the curb, I think that should be pretty easy move for Camke. I've seen soft for Ryan B and soft for Steban as well. And it's be interesting to see what they're going to do in terms of the last stint, but I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But that can be a soft or medium for both of them. MCR, of course, as well.
Wasn't expecting that one. It was just on board, and all of a sudden, the car sticks its nose up the inside. MCR up to P7, as you mentioned. There's action going on. I have no idea how you say that name, but the Alpine we are on board with getting overtaken by I've forgotten the word. The dude will be leading once everyone does their pit stops.
Well, anyway, yeah, we'll call the Alpine Swip. It's probably the easiest way to say his name.
Swip, yeah, I'll stick with that. That works for me. Let's look at that crack around the outside of Serial Killer. Beautifully done move against the driver on the older hard tyres.
MCR and Camke is going to want to get past this McLaren as soon as they can. Getting very close to the back of him. And just trying to find a way through, but they're going to have to wave maybe towards the straight and get it done cleanly.
Right, might box each other in here.
They might, yeah, they're getting free wide here. I'm just trying to get an off-board shot there. The free wide Serial is going to have to back out, doesn't have enough pace there on the straight.
I tell you what, Serial's coming back at them.
Oh yeah,
Serial's having a look at
inside
of MCR. I think slightly more straight line speed on his car, but of course his tyres not really holding up here. That has meant a poor exit from him, does drop back, and we're going to see him pull into the pit lane. No, we are not just yet. Of course, he knows the hard tyres have more life. Possibly a hard soft would be your guess? Or something else?
Maybe. I think it'll be important to see what he does at the end of this lap, because I think a natural inclination to do is to use the hards for right about 12 laps and then the two stints on either softs or mediums. For 8 laps, but you have to see what he chooses to do. I think if he goes longer, he's definitely going to go double soft, but it just depends on how long he's going to stay out now. See Major Wouter, well, Major Wouter, I'm getting confused between the two Aston Martins there. Mr. Wouter getting out behind Major Falcon and losing quite a bit of time obviously after that spin earlier on. But being on the soft, you might be able to gain a little bit back distance and hunt down the drivers in front.
Yeah, of course, there we saw a little bit of side-by-side between Ultimate and Major. Major on the hard tyres. It's going to be the same story again, slow at the start of the stint, faster towards the end. If I'm not mistaken, that is now 6 seconds time penalties for Harry. And yes, it is. 2 Ferraris having a bit of a jostle. Stephen being the one that manages to pull ahead, but we'll hop on board with Ryan B looking to get past Serial Killer. Serial Killer we saw on those older hard tyres. We're going to keep an eye on what tyres he goes on to at the end of this stint. Also some action further on up the order. This crack who pit 1 lap earlier is starting to be overrun by the other drivers around him. MCR now having a little look at the back. Seems quite far for ascent, especially without the DRS to work with, and yeah, it does not go for the move. But look at that.
Ooh, thought about it. Thought about sending it into the second part of that corner, but I think it was just about too far back. There's definitely a possibility if you get your car lined up right on the inside and the driver ahead goes a little bit wide, you can stick your nose in there and get alongside, at least offset the driver heads, and then you might have an advantage down towards turn 6. The hairpin just coming into sector 2. So, but he fought better at that time. But it's definitely an interesting strategy to try there.
Yeah, and also to mention, Serial Killer did not choose to pit, so that throws in the spanner to the strategy.
He's aware of the mandatory 2-stop. Obviously, we haven't had this before, so there's always the risk for running that someone is not quite aware of it. So if it happens in the real season, they get instant disqualified. But
yeah.
pre-season, I mean, we can disqualify them. It just won't do much because it doesn't help the points.
And actually also Harry not on the same strategy as well. 2 drivers are on the hards that they started with. As here we go, Ghost about to pass one of them. Up into P9 for that Red Bull, and going to have the DRS to start pulling away further down the straight. Red Bull leading Mercedes in the dust. Where have we seen this before? Ghost, there we go, up into P9 quite happily. So, and actually, oh my goodness, behind the 2 Aston Martins are having a bit of a play. Mr. Walter, didn't realise the Aston Martin's so close to those. Mr. Walter is up into P11, and on those fresh soft tyres he's going to be miles and miles quicker than Harron just up ahead. The 2 hard runners go round again. If they had to make the 2-stop, they've now got 2 7-lap stints on the soft tyre to get to the end. I mean, that sounds plenty of space to give themselves. So look at this, Mr. Walter round the outside. A little bit of contact going on there.
Still an audacious move there for the Dutchman, getting it down the inside of the Greek driver in into turn 3. And then Major Falcon on fresher hard is going to have to try to do the same thing here. So let's see if he's going to opt for that. Gets very close to the back of Harry Noir here.
Oh, he's... yeah, I was thinking you're a bit close to that car there. And he does end up giving him a little nudge, sending him wide. And all of a sudden, Ultimate has decided, hello, I want to be involved in this. You make a mistake, slow down a bit. I will have a little look for P10 myself, or sorry, P11 myself. The 2 of them side by side. Ultimate with the inside line, but braking earlier and actually not enough because of it. Should have broken later there, lost out. But the 2 of them there again side by side, a mistake from Major, and these 2 still in an absolute deadlock battle. Who got the DRS? It was Ultimate, so here we go, Major looking for a move up the inside, but all of a sudden more straight line speed to the Alfa Romeo and starts to pull away towards the braking zone. Ultimate has been braking slightly earlier, does again, nearly into the back goes Major Falcon, but retaining positions they were in. We'll hop aboard now to the 2-3 battle as Crack and Kamke are fighting away here. Soft tyres versus the mediums, a small touch there. They do retain where they were beforehand.
I've just seen Cyril's gone into the pits and he's gone onto a set of mediums. I'm pretty sure him and Harry Noir are both not quite aware of the 2-stop being mandatory. So, unless they're listening into the stream, please make sure it's a pit twice. But I don't quite know. Well, I don't think they are aware anyway.
Yeah, and interesting actually that it's still the other strategies do seem to be faster for the moment. I mean, I know it's not the fastest drivers in raw pace who are kind of
Yeah.
misunderstanding the rules here, but they are still not at the front. Where is Serial Killer? Down in P18. Okay.
Yeah. Just speaking of at the front, as MCR has actually got past Kemke right there, and I think he's going to go for an overtake on Crack here as well, to the outside of turn 14. Gonna have to try and put it around the outside. It's going to be difficult to do. Crack gives him enough space, but on that curb he didn't quite get the traction, and he has to back off for the moment. I just wanted to talk about the lead from, well, anyway, 9.5 seconds.
Actually, yeah, it's been a little while since I've looked at that man because he's just so far ahead, so dominant. Still, just those 3 seconds of penalty that he picked up way back on. Was it lap 6 or 7? He picked it up on. So yeah, obviously not ideal to get it that early, but you know, doing well to keep without it. And he's made that gap that needs to happen. His Flip getting himself a little bit of corner cutting penalties here. Is this P2 battle still raging on these 3 drivers? None of them able to pull away here. The longer the battle goes on, though, the more it hurts that Haas on the older tyres.
Yeah, and Ryan B at the same time has caught up to these 3. So we're going to make it a 4-way battle. And it will be interesting to see who's going to come out at the top. And Ryan B on the, well, freshest tyres, but obviously he's on the softer compound, so they might wear a little bit more than the mediums of MCR and Crack. I think we can expect him and Kamke to pit earlier for the second times than the other 2. So it'll be interesting to see what they do strategy-wise, if they're going to go for another set of softs or choose a bit more safe here for the mediums and pit a bit earlier maybe.
Yeah, because they pit about the end of lap, is it what, 9 or 10?
Yeah, I think most of them will be there. So Ryan B getting very close to Kamke, as well as MCR overtaking Crack. They go 2x2 into the hairpin. MCR seems to get out ahead just about, although Crack is trying to get a switch back on. As Ryan B has completed the move. Crack still alongside, on the outside of the final corner here, gets a bit stuck on the curb, and I think MCR with a better run there. Gonna stick ahead, but DRS for the Mercedes is gonna allow him to come back to the outside. Very late switch to the outside there, and he has gonna have to do it the long way around. MCR goes deep into the corner to prevent that, but Crack on the inside on the switchback. A little bit of contact there, but looks like MCR is just about gonna hold that inside.
I know, Ryan B up the inside contact.
Yeah, I think Crack just didn't see the AlphaTauri on the inside there. Contact made, both of them getting unsettled, and Ryan B's back under pressure from Kamke.
Yeah, although I think Kamke not wanting to push his tyres too hard, quite happy to just settle in behind, get the DRS in the straight. From what I've seen, he's driving not too aggressive at this state of this stint, which makes sense given the tyres. You don't want to push them too hard, you want to elongate that stint. As he knows these 2 drivers, the second and third, MCR and Crack, they're going to be doing their last stint on the soft tyres. It is essentially their only choice in terms of strategy, which may very well make them quicker, certainly for the start of that stint, quick enough to pull away from these 2. Though the undercut will be in the favour of the drivers currently on the soft tyres. We'll see how that all plays out. Track position will go to the boys on soft, the 2 ahead on mediums. They'll be the ones roaring through on that last stint at the start. So here we go, the camera angles doing everything in their power to not show any other cars for me.
I love that when the game does that. Just shows basically the diffuser of the car, and I can't quite make out what's going on. Anyway, looking Major Falcon on the hearts is what I'm interested about. Again, he's on the hearts. What did he start on? I'm pretty sure he started on the mediums.
He's done 1 stop so far.
Yeah, again, another one I'm not entirely sure about. If he knows the rules, but...
Ghost Recon. Nice little switchback there, although slight slide on the exit there, the final corner, but I think still going to hold on both drivers with DRS, so neither able to pull away from the other. As that gap between first and second, I've just seen, is now 12 seconds big. Yeah. That's just growing and growing. I mean, the battling, of course, going to aid that even more so, but I think, well, anyway, just showing the pace he has over these drivers here.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say that he will not be in Division 3. Unless this is a complete anomaly for him. But 12 seconds over a stint, over, drivers that are going to be at the top of this division is yeah, quite remarkable to say the least. Of course, they've been fighting, but definitely not this much, and he's just shown very consistent pace, the Alfa Romeo, so gonna have to see how that pans out. So decisions to be made.
There's a mistake there by Ghost Recon, and that allows Ultimate to go, well, certainly to look for the move up the inside. He's stuck his car there. I don't think it's enough to complete the move, and actually these two battling has allowed Major Falcon to pull away up ahead here. They will still both have DRS on this next straight, but they have it on the main straight. Remains to be a question. Quarter of a second currently. That gap coming down, looking to the outside. Is he going to cut to the inside? No, he's not. He's just going to brake really, really late. Seems to be a hallmark of Ultimate's driving, but he's made it work. He's just almost took like a wet line, gone really deep, gone slow, cut it back as Ghost is into the pit lane. Ultimate clambering over the curb there. Quite a few drivers pitting.
Trying to give Rick of space, and then Ghost Recon goes into the pits. We have a bunch of the front runners into the pits. Ryan B and Cam K have come onto the nice set of softs with a car between them now, so that's vital. Steban, who was about 3-4 seconds behind the train on the soft tire, has gone onto a set of mediums, so showing the difference there. And yeah, that is not always set in stone what they do. Major Falcon and Ghost Recon both onto mediums as well near the back of the grid now. Cam K getting fast, Red Bull trying to catch back up to Ryan B, not lose too much time.
Yeah, but the thing is, these guys, Ryan B and Cam K, they have to take their softs 10 laps now, and they've really got to be gentle to them. You don't want to be too aggressive too early. I know, you're on fresh softs, you want to pass everyone, you want to move up, you don't want to be held up, but at the same time, you don't want to be burning through this rubber too quick. The swip going off a little bit there. There should be an easy outbreak. Oh, hang on, look at that. Cam K's popped in out of nowhere.
He's overtaken, but he's going to be vulnerable because the DRS detection line is there, and guess who that favors? That's Ryan B.
Yep.
He's going to get a DRS now and try and get back at the half, using his DRS to try and get back through. I think Cam K has kind of accepted it now.
Yeah, interesting choice to use the ERS there, actually. I think it was a mistake to use it. Realised quickly didn't burn too much. But I think you're better saving it there because the overtake was so guaranteed.
I guess you don't know if Cam K is going to defend. If he's starting to use the ERS himself, then it could be a long day trying to get past without using yourself. So I get the choice. MCR has now gone in from the mediums onto softs as well, trying to counter these guys. But I think Ryan B is going to get ahead. Cam K is ahead as well, but not by much. They both get past Spuro. MCR sticking out the inside, trying to follow through. The Spaniards and the Finn next to each other, a bit of contact. But this seems a bit harmless there. And I think on the softs, fresh softs, even though they'll be cold, yeah, still much more grip than the mediums from Ultimate Mr. Puro there.
Yeah, especially mediums of that age. But these three, I mean, they are the battle to watch. MCR, I think he pit a lap early, I'm going to be honest. I think he's made a mistake to pit this early. And it's going to hurt him, as they should have had more of a tyre life on those medium tyres instead. 9 laps to take on the softs, good, but perhaps that's going to take away from his pace too much. It's going to be hard to pass Ryan B and Cam K together on track. Maybe one of them alone, an easier pass, but 2 of them together, escaping both of them, not going to be easy, especially if they're thinking with their heads, which I don't know what the drivers are like. I don't know how many of them are just, oh look, an overtake, let's go for it, and how many of them really kind of play that science Singapore game of, let's give that guy behind me DRS so he can't get overtaken.
Well, MCR is trying to get it on at this point, using all of his DRS to try and get past Cam K. Cam K is the one thinking with his head here currently, as they go both side by side into turn 14. Bit of contact there, but not too much. I think Cam K trying to get back ahead there in front of the final corner, goes deep into it. MCR is gonna switch back here and get back out ahead here in 5th position, because James has just pitted. We have some yellow flags here. I think
that
there's
is
contact between Axel and Serial. Yeah, both from round. Might have been by the pit entry, I'm thinking.
More penalties for Flip further down. 6 seconds now for that man as Ivo picks up 6 seconds himself. So here we go. It's this 4th. Well, Ryan B, MCR, Cam K, all looking to get past Ghost UK as quickly as they can. Ghost surely to be pitting for a fresh set of softs at the end of this lap. There's contact. Contact with the back of the Williams of MCR, and that's him into the wall. Him dropping down past Stephen, possibly past Swip and James Head, who actually himself are in a bit of a battle here. Swip
actually come out just ahead there. James gonna try to get around the outside here. That's yeah, very audacious point to try that. I'm not gonna lie. I think it was a bit of a weird rejoin there from Ghost, not quite aware. So well, anyway, has come in. I think we should see Crack in at the end of this lap, and that's going to be an interesting one, because he's going to be on the freshest tyres by far compared to these guys in P3, 4 and 5. James now finally getting past Ghost, and without much issue this time. I haven't seen the top 2 in the pits. And MCR is past Ryan B, I think.
Yeah, well, still side by side, so have him grip-wise on the exit there to complete the move. And there we go, the move completed as we expected. And it's these 3 here. Where do they end up compared to Crack? Well, anyway, he's off into the distance. He's not even a thought anymore. We'll congratulate him when he's won the race, but he's basically already won it with how good he's been. Crack coming out on track. P6 for the moment. Is James Head going to catch up? No, he is not. So that does put Crack in a good position. Time to just gain on the guys ahead of him. There we go. Me finally making the decision to mute myself briefly to have a big cough. Been fighting that thing off for half an hour now. Decided now's the time.
I've been there. Yeah, Crack now, he's around 4 seconds, just on the 4 seconds behind Cam K. He's going to have around 6.5 laps to gain and reel them in. It's MCR has gapped Ryan B. I think Ryan B might have made a mistake. We now have a gap from 1.2, 1.3 seconds, and Ryan B has lost DRS here. Steven's also managed to reel himself in, and could have a chance here at a solid position. Maybe even trying to beat Ryan B and Cam K.
I suspect he will. I mean, he might struggle to keep up them for a little bit, but the longer the stint goes on, those mediums are going to be so much better. Those softs have to go 10 laps for Cam K and Ryan B. We've mentioned this before, but their tyres are going to be absolutely screaming by the end of this race.
Yeah, and that's going to be interesting. I think at that point the mediums, especially if they run a 5-6 laps into the stint for these soft runners, at that point they drop off, and then you'll see that the mediums haven't dropped off yet, as Steven, but Steven's teammate, James Ed, has just put in the fastest lap. I think that's the point you'll see Steven trying to gain a lot of positions there, and just trying to get past these guys as quick as he can.
Yeah, that gap now 1.1 between Cam K and MCR. Cam K wants to get back onto the DRS range, and actually, you know what, he's doing a jolly good job of closing it down. Not yet within the 1 second, but almost leaving Ryan B behind. In fact, he has, look. Yeah. What a first couple of sectors. We'll see if he can hold it up.
Peculiar, Ryan B's pace seems to have just evaporated completely. And why, I don't know, but look at Steven, he's 3/10 in the back for that part of the track. It's very difficult to stay there. And also Crack right on the back here. I think Ryan B could be down to P6 in no time here. Both from getting... Oh, here comes Crack already, up the inside of C-Band.
Yeah, those two side by side. Now the DRS enabled for them, and look at them just closing down. So who's in Stephen? It's been got by both of them. No, Stephen remaining 6th, Stephen remaining 6th, Ryan B holding on to P5, but Crack knocks him down to that P5. Lucky to only lose 1 position and not 2. That might not remain though down this next bit of straight. ERS burnt here for the Ferrari of Steban. He wants to get past as soon as he can. There's all perhaps a slight moment there into the corner. Car bumping away, taking a very wide line there. I don't know if that's a little bit of netcode going on with Steban, as he's been mighty quick, if that is his line.
I think it's working out for him just now. I think at this point you see a lot of drivers have different lines, especially for a part like that on the track. I want to just quickly notice, well, anyways, fastest lap. 32.3 is absolutely insane, as Ryan B has spun there, coming for turn 7.
Oh, hello.
And he is off down into P8 now. Yeah, well, anyways, lap is, if I recall correctly, I think that is quicker than the fastest lap from lobby 1. If I'm gonna just say for now and leave it there.
Crazy.
So yeah, that's might be a bit of a misjudgment.
Here we go, crack, and I've got the timing set wrong. Oh, look at that. So here we go, yeah, crack past Camco. Right, so what I was going to have a look at is, was it 32.2 you said?
32.3 for this session here.
Yeah. That would have been enough to qualify him, I think, like, he would have qualified P14 or 15 with that.
Yeah.
Just on another level.
He might have burned the DRS for that, I'm not too sure, but at the same time, it's still a very, very quick lap. So we're gonna have to see where he pins out, but it's safe to say not in Division 3. So it seems to fight throughout the field. Querfauer, he's made a steady bit of progress throughout this race. New driver to the league, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's Mexican. Quite ironic for League of Europe. But he's come back into P10 after having an early spin, I seem to recall. So, yeah, he's doing his job. It's only 2 drivers that have only completed 1 stop, and that's Slayer and Serial Killer.
Slight bit of contact there between Flip and Serial Killer, and Ghost getting past the both of them very nicely there, and opportunistic there for the man on the fresh soft tyres. But up into P13 for him. Almost seemed to barge his way through, but somehow without any contact, just a whole lot of aggression directed into the right places.
Crack has just overtaken MCR into turn 14. I think those fresh tyres are working out for him. I was going to say that he's a big snap on the exit there, but just about holds it together. Very aggressive over that curve. Might allow MCR to get back at him, at least to try and hold him up a little bit. He's going to try to do that. Running outside though is maybe not the best choice, but he gets ahead right before the corner. Crack is going to have to back out. Looks back up the inside, but again, just not quite enough room there for the Mercedes to do that. Maybe I'm going to switch back out of this corner though.
Yeah, I think Crack should be saving up his ERS here. I mean, he's got the tyre advantage, he'll know that. The race engineer would have told him that in his ear. So it makes sense to just almost make him use his tyres as much as he can, and on that last lap, just dump your ERS, go for the move, complete it down into that final hairpin. Because until that last overtaking opportunity is gone, unless they're not within that 1 second, very much you could be overtaken. Just because you have the faster tyres doesn't mean that straight line speed is not going to come back to bite you. So,
yeah,
although a bit of oversteer.
Big snap there. Yeah, I don't know how much ERS you're going to be able to save up around this track. It's not very friendly to your battery. So with 2 laps remaining, I think you're just trying to position your car in the right way, make sure you use your tires properly, and not mess up too much. He's using all the ERS now, so he's definitely not thinking of saving it. But it's going to be close enough for a move here. Looking for it. Backed out of it though. So, no way to that. Maybe down towards turn 1 he'll have another go.
Yeah, as we see Ghost getting past Ghost for P12.
And P13, which I think are their starting positions, if I'm not mistaken.
You know what, I think you're right. Let's see if they've... They are, yeah, that is. They are... Those two, Ibo and, well, anyway, are the only drivers to be in their starting positions.
Oh, that's a sick move from Crack. Moved towards the outside of turn 1, broke earlier, and got himself back on the inside for the second part of the corner. He's back into P2 with just under 2 laps remaining. Let's see if he can hold on to it. He's going to have to keep it together.
Yeah, he was just burning a bit of ERS there. I think he's... I don't know, he seems too desperate for what he needs to be. He really should be thinking the long term here. It might come back to bite him, but at the same time, his strategy, his long term, might help him more so than just his want to try and pull away that gap. It is still remaining about half a second, 6/10 now actually. So it might very well be that he is able to make this work. There's a bit of side by side going on here between Slayer and Serial Killer. A lot of side by side there. The drivers' cars, plenty of contact between them, neither going for a spin. though, which is always nice to see. Good, hard, clean racing.
Yeah, I think Crack with his burning, he's trying to put MCR under pressure as much as he can by just driving as quick as possible. At least got Camk off the back of this. And if that's anything to go by, MCR with 2 lap all the tires, there's a possibility that he just doesn't have enough grip to try and get back. But it's not quite given up yet. We're going into the final lap at least. Well, anyway, has gone far into the final lap. We're already at the second one split. Here comes the last lap for the rest of the drivers here. And Crack and MCR still, the gap's about 5 tenths. We have a spinner
Yeah,
from,
oh, that's Flip again. Really
Yep.
struggling with the consistency of this race.
But this time MCR is going to have to wait and just hope that he's going to be close enough for the back straight. That's the only way. They both don't have ERS, so they have nothing to play with. And it's going to be interesting to see if they can if he can stick with him. But 7 tenths the gap. He's going to have to gain in this part of the track, and that's where the tires are the most vital, I think. So it's I think Crack is just about nailed this on if he doesn't make any more mistakes.
Yeah, Crack now with 3% more ERS. Might not sound like much, but that could be the difference. Excuse me. Actually, still plenty of battles going on further down. Watch P8, P9 on the sideboard between Ryan and Major Falcon. We'll keep an eye on this, though, as this is for the podium, and Camk is almost certainly within that DRS range. All 3 of these guys, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and Stephen has been overtaken by Mr. Walter. And yeah, he's simply too far back. He's out of ERS. Although we will quickly watch Well Anyway come across the line with an absolutely dominant win here this pre-season. That man is not going to be in Division 3, but he's certainly going to be happy with that drive. Picked up a little bit of penalties come the end. So here we go. MCR does... unable to get past Crack towards the end. Crack does hold on to that P2. MCR slotting into P3. Still a podium as Camk P4. James, his penalty does kick in, but it's not enough of a problem. Flip seems to have given up on following the track as he's picking up 10 seconds for corner cutting somewhere. Walter P6, Stephen P7. As Ryan B and Major Falcon fighting to the very end here, and it does seem to be Ryan B in the end as we've got a yellow flag. Ryan B going wide there, avoiding picking up the penalty. Ultimate here with 6 seconds of penalties. That's going to drop him down a place. Luckily only one, as there's a bit of a gap further down to the other Red Bull. Ghost finishing P10 and P13. Look how close some of these drivers were. The last few now coming towards the line. Harry finishing Serial Killer across the line. And then Flip with a humongous amount of penalties and a distinct lack of fuel, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's seeing Ghost UK just drop there as he leaves the session. That happens on this game for some reason. He was in
10th
if I recall
before.
correct, 10th. Yeah, because he jumped Ultimate Massacre on 10th there. Yeah, well anyway, with an absolute dominant win. I think apart from the last 2 drivers, by far the biggest gap between 2 drivers as well. So yeah, I think it's going to be a long day before we see him in Division 3. I think Division 2 is more likely, if not higher.
Yeah,
the race was a very exciting Grand Prix. A lot of drivers very closely matched.
As Well Anyway, saying this is his literal best track. But it sounds like it's going to struggle to make the 6:30 time, so I guess we'll see how that works. Ghost Recon, he's not a fan of this track. But yeah, very, very nicely done. This pre-season race, honestly, some very, very nice driving there. Drivers, of course, not going to show too much aggression, but still want to show what they're made of. You want to be placed in the right division, because it's no fun to just win everything by miles, but at the same time, you do not want to be left in the dust. But nah, I think I enjoyed that race. Good show by LOE for the pre-season. Crack come into 2nd from P9. Let's run quickly through the order. Well Anyway, winning that race, fastest lap, good enough to put in P15 in qualifying. I mean, what a race by him. The only slight dent on that is the 3 seconds time penalty he picked up. Crack P2, MCR finishing out the podium there. Then Camk, James 4, 5, Mr. Walter, Stephen 6, 7, Ryan B, Major Falcon and Ultimate finishing out that top 10. Then Q, Ghost Recon, Swip and Slayer and Serial Killer finishing out that top 15, which importantly is how they do points here in LOE. Then Harrying, Flip, Ghost UK, Axel and Ibo finishing out the final 20. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, very good race there, especially near the front, I'd say. It was a very good race. Good 5, 6, 7 drivers that were very closely matched. Hopefully a spin here and there might have thrown up the results a little bit. And down the grid, plenty of good fighting as well. That seemed to be very entertaining and a prospect of a good season.
Yeah, as James had actually mentioned, if he didn't have that spin, he most likely would have been second, but happy with the recovery. And yeah, I think I agree with him, to be honest. I can't remember exactly where I finished in the end. Was it P6, I think? Either way, showed very good pace, a very good comeback from his mistake. We're not doing driver interviews, are we, with the pre-season?
No, definitely not now. We'll have to see come the real season, but no, for this, there's no need to do that. So, yeah.
Okay, well then that remains. Come back next week. Division 1 and 2 will be at 6:30 GMT, where you will see my fellow commentator Verstappen attempt to win once again. That will be happening at Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, in a week's time. And then come back again for us for Division 3. We'll be here same time again, 8:15 GMT, and we will be here for Division 3's race, the first round of how many rounds in the season?
14.
14. Okay, yeah. So first of a 14 round season, presumably Eloise last on F1 23.
Yeah.
Of the main season, certainly. I don't know what other fun stuff you've got cooked up, but I'm new here, so I'll find out. But yeah, anything to say, or are we just going to end the stream here?
I think it's fine to end it now. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, alright then. Thank you guys for watching, and see you next week.